If you're in the market for a new saddle, man, Latitude has a new one out that's pretty sweet, pretty affordable. The new Maverick is dropping this week. I got to set in it at the Mobile Hunter Expo up in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and I was real impressed with it. I think it's probably what I'm going to use this year. I got one heading my way. Be looking this week for them to drop that on their website and go to latitudeoutdoors.com and get you the Maverick saddle. It's time to start thinking about whitetail gear. ASIO Gear, it offers a fantastic solution for any of your clothing needs. They've crafted a premium line of bow hunting gear that stands out in quality, especially for the price point. What's more, every purchase from ASIO comes with a lifetime warranty. That gives you some peace of mind there with clothing. With their unique camo pattern and great technology in their garments, ASIO ensures you'll stay comfortable in the stand or in the saddle or whatever you're using. And here's the kicker. ASIO is offering a special deal to listeners. If you use the code ECHO15 at checkout, you can get 15% off your purchase of anything on the ASIO's website. So visit ASIOgear.com today to explore the selection of premium hunting clothing that they have over there. And finally, the original sponsor of this podcast, Stealth Outdoors. Makers of the greatest silencing tape on this side of Mars. And good news coming from Stealth Outdoors. Lou's offering everybody that listens to the show 10% off using the code BTE10. So, go to stealthoutdoors.com. Make sure you get your silencing tape. Get you a shirt from Lou. Go over there and support Lou. He's a great guy with a great product. Visit stealthoutdoors.com. All my partners are in the description of this podcast. Go check them out. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. We got a special guest today, Mr. Trent Ellis.
Glad to be here. I appreciate you having me, Josh.
Glad to have you on, man.
Man, yeah.
If you guys haven't seen Trent's face on any of the social medias, you're missing out. He's kind of you've kind of gone viral the last, I don't know, it's been this year, really. It's when I started seeing you all over the place.
Yeah. I've been at it since last August the 24th, so that'll be a year for me. So I've learned a lot in the last year, and I'm sure I'm gonna keep learning. So hopefully everything goes good. But if it doesn't, like I said earlier, I'm just gonna keep working. So
keep her going.
Keep her going.
Yeah. Well, man, you're doing something that, like, I think in the hunting industry we need more of. Like, I titled this video "Stop Taking Yourself So Serious," but like,
yeah,
it's a breath of fresh air to see someone being real successful. And like it's like I mean, if you guys don't know what Trent, maybe we'll play one of your clips here in a minute. But like, you kind of have conversations back and forth with yourself, but you're two different characters about little stupid things in the hunting industry that go on, I guess.
Yeah.
I was laughing at your one about you did one. I think it may have been real recent, maybe today or the other. Maybe it was I think it was today, maybe last week. But about the guy that called you and said he was buying like 48 trail cameras or something like that.
Yeah, I released that this afternoon at 4:30.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. We that is definitely a stereotype right now.
So, yeah, there's some of my stuff, man, is like you can easily relate to it, and then some of it is just completely off the wall, like nobody does it, but it's you could see somebody doing it. So
yeah,
I like to stay in that ballpark,
Yeah.
But
yeah, I love when you put in there like you're talking at the end of this one about the roofing. I think it was on that one. But yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah,
that's my sense of humor. So the trail cam thing was funny, but the roofing part was real funny.
Yeah. Sometimes I tie in some stuff that has nothing to do with the video at all, or the premise, I guess you'd say, and
yeah,
it just works. But I haven't even checked the numbers tonight on that one, so I don't know how good it's done or anything like that. But I'll check it when we get off here.
There you go. Well, here, do you care? Let's play one of your clips. So I bet if people like see the clip, they'll probably recognize you from the clip.
Yeah.
For sure. I can share my, let's see here. Share your audio here. Okay. Which one do you like that people will like?
Oh
I
man.
know you got this one you're talking about earlier.
Yeah. Hit that one up.
Okay.
Fulton Grain Company, how can I help you? Yes, sir. I was wanting to get whatever kind of grass they put out on the interstate.
You killing deer or catching hitchhikers?
It's gonna be for deer, but what?
How many pounds you want?
Oh, wait a minute. Did you say catching hitchhikers?
How you think the yard gets mowed around here?
Well, anyway, I got a few questions about this grass.
What you want to know?
Well, I mean, it seems to me that every 2 or 3 miles I go down the road, there's 4 or 5 deer standing there liable to be 2 or 3 bucks. And it's just constant every 2 or 3 miles.
Yep, that's our grass.
I mean, I'd kind of like to know the formula.
For every 2 pounds of full-grown Bermuda,
You don't start with the seed?
you add 4 pounds of corn.
So they just eating corn.
Yep, pretty much.
Is that not illegal?
I'm not a game warden.
Wait a minute.
How you doing, Clyde?
So all of I-22
Tell you, Daddy, I want my money.
is full of broadcasted corn?
You ever heard of MDOT?
Yes, sir.
They got outlaws too, son.
Fulton Grain Company, how can I help you?
So there you go.
Yeah. That's, and I actually know a lot of guys that work at MDOT here, Mississippi Department of Transportation, and I had some guys hit me up on that and was like,
Yeah.
man, that's good stuff, you know.
Yeah, 1.3 million views. So a lot of people thought it was good. That's funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the kind of stuff Trent does. But so you've been doing it for about a year now. What got you started in it? Like, man, like what was your first time where you're like, oh man, this is working? And can you run us through that whole process?
Well, like I was telling you before, I got a Series 6, 26, and Series 6, 63, and 26 investment license. So for the last 3 years, a little over 3 years, I've done investments for people. And, you know, it was 100%, you eat what you kill. So when people invest, whether it's in an IRA or a 401k or just a straight liquid account, you know, every time they invest, you know, I would get paid for that. And so commission based, you know, now after 3 years, I've built up a book and I've got a little bit of residual income, but it's definitely nothing you can, you know, retire off of. But I was at a school because I do a 403B for a district locally here. And then I was at another district that I was at a school. I was at a school one day, sitting in the break room, kind of waiting for teachers to come by and talk to me. And that month, 2 months, it had been kind of rough. You know, the market was not doing great at the time. And people, when they invest, it's kind of backwards for a majority. When the market does really bad and you should invest because you're buying it cheap, people like to pull out because they get scared. And then when they hear about everybody else that's doing really good, when the market goes way up, they're like, oh, now I'm going to invest. So it was one of those times where it was kind of like choppy and not doing great. And so nobody was really coming by and wanting to talk to me about retirement or investing or anything like that. And I don't know if you can hear my 2-year-old in the background.
You're fine, dude.
Okay.
Here, we're talking about kids. Huck wanted me to show you guys this.
Oh, heck yeah.
This is tattoo. He wanted me to. All right, we can go ahead
now. But anyway, I had been to 2 or 3 schools and in this district, and I was just, man, nobody was coming by. And I was like, man, what is going on? And I just so happened to, you know, be surfing on my phone, and I didn't even have TikTok. But I surfed a lot of Facebook Reels and YouTube Shorts and stuff like that. And I had seen a podcast, a short clip of a podcast that Justin Nunley. You ever heard of him?
I don't think so. Maybe if I saw his face.
He's probably got 10 to 15 million followers across all platforms. He's the guy that he used to start all of his videos with coming up to the camera and saying, listen, did you know? And he'd say something off the wall and crazy and all that kind of stuff. But I saw a podcast short of him saying, I made, you know, they asked him what kind of money he made. And this podcast was done in 2022. So this is over a year, you know, prior to me seeing it. And I had never seen this guy. And I was like, who is this guy? because he was saying, when during his podcast in 2022, he said he was making like, roughly 20K a month. And so I started looking him up, and I'm like, dadgum, man, like this dude's funny. And I think I could possibly do something. I mean, I'm obviously not as good as him or as funny as him, but I think I could do something. And I mean, it beats, just kind of waiting around and for people to talk to me, or, me trying to go out. And I was soliciting a lot and trying to go into businesses and set up 401ks and SEP IRAs, and nobody was really biting or anything. And so it was pretty slow. And I'm like, well, why don't I just try this? On my off time, and just start uploading some goofy stuff. I've got some goofy ideas. And I remember the first day, man, it was August the 24th. It was the 23rd or 24th. And I told my wife, I said, I think I'm going to start uploading TikToks. And she's like, you're an idiot. Like, nobody's going to, like, babe, don't. And my wife is a huge, like, so supportive of me. Anything I do, she's there. And she's like, so I downloaded TikTok that day. I shot my first 2 TikToks that day. And I said, I'm going to do 2 a day. And I'm just going to do it for a week. And if I like it, I'm going to keep going. I don't care what the views get or what the videos get or nothing. I'm just going to, if I enjoy it, I'm going to keep doing it. And after 7 days, but I'm going to give myself 7 days and 14 videos. And so I uploaded my first 2 videos, and Bree, as I was starting to upload my second, or starting to shoot my second, Bree was like, I really don't like this. And I was like, why? What's going on? She's like, I don't think I can respect you doing this.
Oh no.
Because I had some crazy crap on my head, and some plants sticking out and everything. She's like, you don't even respect guys that do this. Like, I mean, I've heard you talk bad about them. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's fun, and I'm kind of liking it. I just uploaded one, and this is kind of cool. So I get monetized on TikTok about 40 days later, and she goes from, I don't know about this, to, hey, this is what you need to do for this video. This is what you need to do for that. So I get monetized, and she's like, hey, you need to do this. What about that? So, but after, I think that first week, I had some local cats call me, and I'd see them. I remember we went over to my uncle's one night, and they had a big gathering over there, and 4 or 5 of the adults just came up to him and was like, dude, your stuff's hilarious, man. And it was getting like 3,000 or 4,000 views, nothing crazy. And I was like, man, your stuff's hilarious. This is exactly what we do. And remember this part of the video. And I wasn't even monetized or didn't have a lot of followers, but I was like, man, I like that. I'm doing something that the community likes, and people are having a good time. So I just kept doing it, and it's kind of working out. So yeah.
Heck yeah. Yeah. Did you start on TikTok then? Because you have you upload to everything now, it seems like.
So I did. I started on TikTok, and probably, I can't remember if it was the same day or the same week, but once I started uploading to Facebook, I pretty much uploaded to everything: Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And I just figured, well, there I'm sure there's people on TikTok that ain't on the other 3, or have 2 but not all 4 or whatever. And I'm just like, 4 is better than 1. So why not do them all? So that's but I've enjoyed it. I'm monetized now on Facebook and TikTok. I'm close on YouTube. And I just had a message from one of my clients. What's your take on this stop market? But yeah, I said, hey, just let's post to them all. And I'm glad I did, because building a following on YouTube got me back really thinking about doing long form stuff. And I actually filmed my hunts about 4 or 5 years ago. And I really didn't enjoy it, just because mainly everything that I hunt for the most part is on public, and I could be walking 60 yards from the truck or the boat, or I could be walking 3 miles. You know, most of the time my sweet spot's about a mile and a half from wherever I'm parked or whatever. And I was just having to, bring a bunch of camera gear in, get up the tree, put it on there, come back, not see anything. It's just a hassle. And I saw THP talking about it. It's like, look, if you don't love filming, you're not going to make a living out of it. Like, there's a lot of guys getting into it thinking, I don't love filming, but I want to make a living doing this. And so I'm like, yeah, I don't love it. So I just put it aside. And once I started doing this, I made my mind up this year that during turkey season, I'm going to film my turkey hunts, take me a Tacticam, put on my gun barrel, my GoPro. And I did. And every bird that I killed, I've got on film. And it's just so cool. Like, it's not the best footage at all. It's like right the opposite. It's garbage. Okay. But being able to go back on there and see that is so fun to me, and now my little boy's asking, like, I want to see daddy shoot a turkey. I want to see daddy shoot a watermelon, all that stuff's real fun. So it's actually, the short form has actually caused me to fall in love with the long form. And that's why I believe that, as long as the good Lord allows it, I'll be doing both long term,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't remember your question, but yeah.
No, you kind of covered it. You covered it. We were just getting started on the your starts of social media. So you've been at it for a year now, and something that's a big hot topic in the hunting world is how bad social media is for hunting. I mean, you got all kinds of tension there between one side and the other. What have you had any real bad experiences being as popular as you are now? I mean, I don't know how many followers you have throughout all your platforms, but it's a lot.
No, not really. The only thing, pretty much the only interaction I've had 2 different interactions in the woods, and they've both been great. One guy, I was early on, it was during deer season. It was locally here. He recognized me, and I was pulling up to the boat ramp, and he was in the water, and he had just backed his boat in and was heading out. And no, I'm sorry, he was coming in too, and he was like, "Hey, are you Trent Ellis?" And we kind of went back and forth a little bit, and ended up pretty good friends with him now. And then when we were out turkey hunting in Oregon, we were on a mountain in Oregon, and a guy pulls up, and dude sticks out the passenger window and is like, "What the heck are you doing here?" And so, I mean, it's been all like positive from that aspect in person. I haven't really had, I don't think I've had anybody, hit me for like burning spots or whatever, but I just know that that's probably a good place to be from a content creator standpoint. Like, once you get to that point to where your videos have enough reach for you to get hate for nothing, pretty much, that's a good place to be. Just because I'm not gonna kill a deer or a turkey or anything like that and then post where I killed it, or put something like a sign or something like that in the video that obviously people can Google, or lets people know, at least not on purpose, that lets people know where I'm at. But I mean, I think, like THP, for example, they get hate on a lot of videos that they do about burning spots and all this crap. And it's just like, most of that's from the local boys, wherever they're at. And the local boys, I mean, you could put 2 trees in a video, and somebody that hunts there every week is going to be like, "Hey, that's such and such WMA, man, what are you doing, burning spots and coming out here and hunting, blah, 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 blah." But like I said, I mean, I hope to have that much reach one day to where people act foolish, on stuff like that, just for no stinking reason. But
yeah, it's a touchy subject with a lot of people, and I do get it. Like, I understand. I think a lot of it is just manufactured hate, though. You know what I mean? Maybe a little bit of jealousy, a little bit of
Josh, I don't know if it's you or if it's me, but you're breaking up real bad.
Oh, who is it, everybody? Is it me or Can you guys hear me still? Let me turn my internet off on my phone. It's pretty well status quo for these lives, Trent. You got to lose me at least once during this live. Am I back up? Oh, it's Trent. It's not me. Not me this time. Let me see if I can get Trent back on here. I think it was him that went off. Anyway, Trent's a really cool guy. If you guys haven't seen him on social media, you got to go over there and follow him. I got all his links in below. He'll give you good laughs scrolling through his shorts. I'm gonna text him here. All right. Anyway, hope everybody's doing good tonight. We did a members only live before we got on tonight. That was a lot of fun. It was a really good show tonight beforehand. Just a lot of good questions, a lot of good topics we talked about. So you guys can always join that. I made it cheap so everybody can afford it. Just 99 cents. His 2-year-old probably unplugged the internet. If you guys got any questions for me while we're on here, let me know. Maybe if Trent doesn't get back on, we can. Oh, are you there?
I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know
You're
what.
good. It's hard telling, man. Sometimes the internet's bugs out or whatever. Someone mentioned maybe your 2-year-old unplugged a router.
Yeah, probably so. That could have been it.
Yeah, it's a part of doing them live. Sometimes that happens. People are used to it on here. My internet's not always good either.
Yeah.
But I was saying, just like anytime someone gets uber successful, you're going to have people that don't like it, you know?
Yeah.
But I get how it would be frustrating if you had this perception of, hey, THP came to my local public land and showed something that I recognized, and that made me mad. I get it. I mean, but also, like you said, Johnny from Ohio is not going to notice that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that, I mean, even if get a lot of hate for saying this, I guess, but even if they did say exactly where they were, I mean, most people are not going to hunt as hard as those guys do to go in there and consistently kill big deer. You know, I mean, I talked to Nick a decent bit, and I think everybody knows. I mean, I think myself included. I mean, I try to stay in the woods 4 or 5 days a week. You know, I'm lucky to be able to do that, and I'm blessed to be able to do that. But you know, I'm hunting hard, man, and I'm not getting 300 yards from the truck and sitting 3 hours and then getting back and then coming back at dark, or an hour before dark. I mean, I'm in there for 4 or 5 hours, or I'm in there all day. And, even if they were to do that, I mean, I feel like you could still go out there and end up killing a big deer. I do know there's some places around here that, have been published on some platforms and some other things that it's definitely caused a lot more. Like out of state pressure. But still, I mean, the place that I'm thinking of, I mean, it's still, I've got buddies that kill huge deer on it every year, and see big deer. I've been on it a bunch and still see big deer all the time,
Yeah.
So, I mean,
yeah. And it's what people are probably feeling. It's not really the spot burning per se. It's more just the popularity of public land hunting increased over the last several years. I mean, it is what it is, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, public land hunting in the last 10 years has become the thing.
Yeah. And really the product of that is, people, it's harder to lease a spot. Your average guy that used to be able to get into a lease for $1,000 can't do that anymore. You got to pay, twice or 3 times that. And like most guys aren't going to do it,
Yeah.
And then you also have the, things are getting developed and there's less habitat for deer on private. So typically public land doesn't get messed with as much, and it's just it's like a big snowball. And then you have the internet that made things a little more popular, and it's just it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just try to look at it the same way as I try to everything. And it's like, well, if I'm not killing the deer that I want to kill, I'm going to hunt harder. I got to hunt harder. Just like with social media, if I don't have videos doing as well as I, want them to do, I'm not going to sit around and mope and say, well, the platform's against me. I'm not this or I'm not that. And it's the algorithm's fault or it's Mark Zuckerberg's fault or whatever. And, some of that stuff may be true, but all I can control is, what one of my best friends, Desmond Martin's always said, and you can only control your attitude and your activity. And, so I failed short a lot with the attitude part, but I've always tried to just, even if I gripe about something or moan about something, I still try to get out there and, just say, all right, well, that video didn't work, but that was yesterday or that was tonight. So do it tomorrow, or whatever the case. So,
I mean, the secret to life is just simply controlling what you can control and not worrying about what you can't, and how you react to things is very important. So it's probably a good piece of advice, because I've been plenty frustrated when I go to a piece of public and there's people that weren't there before, they're there and they got trail cameras up now, and it's like is what it is. Like,
oh man, and dude, like I'm not this saint of a guy either. Like I remember in college, I had a buddy of mine that I took hunting with me, and I don't know if you know this, but like on Snapchat, anybody on here that has Snapchat, make sure it's on ghost mode. I don't have it anymore, but my buddy back then, this has been 4 or 5 years ago, I took him hunting with me, and he had his Snapchat location on. And all the guys in my class knew that I knew about this area, and I'd been hunting it for a long time. And most of them wasn't from around here. And I know one guy, it was opening morning of bow season. He watched where my buddies like Snapchat, because he knew he was hunting with me that morning, and he looked at where his Snapchat location was, and he pinned it. And the very next 2 or 3 days, killed 8-point in there. And dude, oh man, it pissed me off so bad. I ended up making a real smart comment to him or whatever. Probably shouldn't have said it, but yeah, I mean, it is frustrating, so, I mean, I try to do better now and just say, hey, there's this place has got 60,000 acres or 100,000 or 30,000. It's not the only buck in there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. And we oftentimes forget, and deer hunters are the worst, that that public land is for everybody. Like whoever's in there has the right, whether you're squirrel hunting during deer season. I know a lot of guys get super frustrated with small game hunters during deer season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that guy wants to shoot a squirrel as bad as you want to shoot a deer,
Yeah. So, oh yeah. We've had people walk up underneath us. We're like, hey, I'm right here.
Yeah.
And just be like, oh, my bad, man. My bad. Yeah. And then just keep going. And you're like, all right, I'm getting down. This is burnt,
Yeah.
But then you hear about those guys or see them on video where that stuff happens to, and then an hour later, they shoot this massive buck, and it's like, well, dadgum, maybe I should have sat and stand.
Yeah, right. Right. Yeah. It's not like they're still in there somewhere, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think the deer get smart to all that stuff for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Here people are starting to comment things. Trent, this is how it works: is people start commenting, and we'll just answer questions.
Heck yeah.
Chris said he's wonder if states can ban video on state properties. So some states have. I mean, some places you got to pay to film on their public lands.
Dang, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Pennsylvania's pretty sure like that, or it used to be. Missouri was like that. Missouri was no video on public land. And especially for commercial use, like if you got a big YouTube channel, like I'm pretty sure when THP, you could probably ask him this. I know, talking to Dan though, they had to buy a very expensive permit to have that public land challenge on public land in Pennsylvania.
I That kind of makes sense because I know Pennsylvania. That's a very hot state. I've
Yeah.
heard. Never been, but I've heard. I've got buddies that live there, and I mean, it's kind of well known.
Yeah, it's there's, I think as far as hunting license sold, I think it's number one. It was number one last year
Yeah,
over Michigan and Wisconsin. So
Yeah.
it's a very popular spot.
yeah,
And then, so that has happened before, Chris. There's definitely some states that are like that. And then John said people claiming spots on public land is getting out of hand with trail cameras.
yeah.
Trent just made a video about that. We talked about that a
No,
little
I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry. You're probably gonna want to tune out now, man. I'm not helping. I'm not helping, dude. And here's the thing with that, like, if it's legal, there are certain things that I won't do, even if it's legal. Like, I taught myself pretty much everything on turkey hunting. I would ask a lot of guys how to do that and how to do this and stuff like that. But I never had a guy take me under their wing and take me out there and show me the ropes over and over again or anything like that. And for instance, when we were in Oregon, I released a short clip of me shooting at a bird coming off the roost. And I didn't know that was frowned upon in the turkey community. Well, I learned really quick. So that's one of those things that I won't do. But for the most part, I mean, if it's legal and I can use it to help me, in that situation, harvest that mature deer or whatever, I'm going to, So as long as until I become this just incredible hunter that can just go out there and say, hey, I'm going to tag out $3 a year on public every single year. I'm going to make it harder. I'm going to take my cameras and throw them away, or I'm going to take, recurves out there only. Hey, I'm probably going to load them up, man, load them up. And then when gun season gets here for us, I put my bow on the shelf and I bring the gun out, whether it's the rifle or the smoke pole or whatever, but, Josh does make, it could, I can see where he's saying that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's more people like you that have that attitude than not. I think that's how most people feel,
Yes.
I think what we're seeing right now is it's just like everything else. It's like it's an evolution. Like trail cameras are getting cheap. Like you can go to Walmart after season and buy a cell camera for $30 now, and it's just, we got to, hopefully, it's hard to trust the government, but hopefully you trust the game and fish that are going to make right decisions for the wildlife. If it's getting to be a problem for the wildlife, then they probably need to regulate them. And we are seeing lots of rumblings of trail cameras becoming regulated. So I don't know, like you kind of said, we were talking about earlier, not much, not much you can do about it. Right. So react the way you need to and keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I use them. I use trail cameras all the time. I got a bunch of them out. But
I just try to be, in that aspect, I just try to be respectful of people's stuff. The biggest problem I have with them is when people steal your cards or steal your camera, and I guess we're getting away from that a lot more now, at least from the camera part, just because, like Tacticam, for example, my Tacticams, they've got GPSs on them. So, and a buddy of mine, I know he had his stole, and he just called law enforcement, and they went to the guy's house and got it from him.
I had that happen to me.
Yeah. So that's a good thing, but yeah, till they outlaw it, you know what I mean? I'm probably going to throw them on the tree.
Yeah, I get that. I'm not. Yeah, the running 30 or 40 of them though. That's that's not in the cards for me. I don't want to pay that monthly bill.
Yeah. Yeah. I try to tell people too, like, whatever you think I'm like, you're probably right. whatever you think I think about this or that, you're probably right. I mean,
Yeah.
and one of those is like that. You know, I'm not. I mean, one of these days I hope to be. I hope to have, you know, just walls of fans and big bucks and everything. That way I can look back and say, all right, I'm not shooting a bird. I'm gonna make it harder. I'm good now. Killed a lot. I'm not shooting one under over 30 yards. Or I'm gonna set my guns up and I'm only gonna bow hunt. I'm not gonna use trail cam. I hope to be that way one day because of how much
Yeah.
success I've had. But dude, I ain't there yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I have a lot of respect for guys that are like that, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I definitely don't hate on them. I'm happy for them, man. If you're Tim Wells and you dove hunt with a compound, hey, by all means, baby, do it, and video it. I'll watch it. You know? So
Yeah. Yeah, he's a guy that's pretty good at the internet too. He can create some viral stuff.
yeah.
Veterans Outdoors says that Missouri is now $750 a day to video if you're monetized.
Oh, so if you're monetized, so
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That
I
makes
don't think they care if just, you know, whatever, Joe Blow goes out and just films his deer hunt as long as you're not. I think it has to be like commercial use is how they label it.
Yeah, that makes sense. 750 a day. Golly.
Yeah, like that'd be hard to justify going there. And
Who said that?
Veteran Outdoors is his name.
Hey, Veteran Outdoors, I appreciate you telling me that, Bubba.
Yeah.
You see me in Missouri filming any hunts. Good night.
I knew it was you. I knew it used to be like that because I know Dan Infault was telling me that he was going to go out there one time a number of years ago, and he's like, "Oh, never mind," because it was expensive.
Yeah, that's a lot, man. Because you gotta, if you're filming long form, like you got to go out there and you got to kill something nice because that video's got to do good.
Oh yeah,
you even cover the permit fee. So.
Yeah. Let alone tags and everything else and travel. Yeah, you'd be in the hole for sure.
But you know what's crazy is like Missouri. I hear Missouri is like slap covered with people.
I have heard that too the last couple years.
Yeah, I have heard like one of my buddies at Tethered. He said, you know, he's like, man, I went and the parking lot or the pull in had 20 trucks in it. You know, 3 years ago might have had 4.
Yeah,
and I think people are just. Man, they are flogging Missouri.
Yeah, my buddy Jason quit. He's hunted there for like 15 years straight or something like that. I'm making that number up, but and he quit going last year because he said it's just too many people now.
Yeah, I wonder how they regulate that though. Like, I mean, you got to wonder. I mean, does everybody that goes and films a video that is monetized? Like, are they?
Yeah, how would you know?
In the back office and like, hey, well, look at this Trent of this guy. Let's see if he's
and
here. You know,
we got a piece of public. I think a lot of it isn't made for this type of stuff on YouTube. A lot of it's made for like I think like people wanting to go and produce a movie or like spend a bunch of time in there.
Yeah.
Because that same law is in place at this piece of public down the road from my house, and I called the lady that runs it, and I'm like, "This is what I'm doing." Like, do I have to pay you guys that much to go in here and film my deer hunts? Like, oh no, we just don't want. It's for commercial, like commercial use, is what she said. It's like for, like, I don't know, some movie company coming in, or
like
commercial company coming in,
or Pursuit.
Yeah, something crazy, something like that would cause interference to the public land, I guess.
Gotcha.
So maybe that's maybe Missouri's like that too, but. Don't know for sure. Chase Eckert says hello.
What's up, Chase? Marine Corps with an Eckert.
Do what?
I said I was in the Marine Corps with an Eckert.
Oh,
yeah, went to middle school with him.
Yeah, 29 Palms, May 23rd, May of 23. He says we were roommates at 29 Palms.
Yo! Oh, dude, yes. Oh yeah, 29 stuff, baby. We were. It was me, Eckert, Guardado, and Garcia. Heck yeah. What's up, dude?
That's cool, man.
That is so cool, man. He's from Indiana. He's
Oh,
from
no kidding.
he's from I think comment on there, Chase. You're from like Enos, Indiana, or
Enos. That don't sound right.
I'm probably butchering it. He's from Indiana. I swear he is. I swear he is.
Huntington, dude. I went to Huntington University.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, he's
That
from
is
Huntington,
so
Indiana.
cool.
I studied business at Huntington University.
That is so cool.
What's up, Zank? My buddy Zank was in the military too. He just popped on.
Heck yeah.
yeah.
Dude, that's crazy because that's how Nick Andrews of THP and I got in touch, because one of my videos, it was after they came down here and hunted and Aaron killed that big buck. I did a video about it, making fun of them or not making fun of them, but like a spoof video. And Nick said that he saw it. Somebody sent it to him. He showed everybody. And then he started kind of looking back at my stuff, and he saw a 13th Mew hoodie. So he reached out to me on Instagram. He's like, "Hey, were you on the Mew February to September of 2016?" I was like, yeah. He was like, "I was on the New Orleans." I was like, "Oh my gosh, dude, we were on the same deployment. Didn't even know it."
Yeah, small world, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Hey, man. Hey, if Chase is still on here, hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, something Messenger, and we need to catch up, dude. That's cool. That's cool. I have not seen that guy since May or June. I think we graduated in June. No, it wasn't May. It was no, it wasn't June either. It was July. It was July to October. It was July to October that we were at 29 Palms. I haven't seen that guy since October of 2013.
Dang. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's crazy, man. Well, I'm glad I could get you two in contact.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
If you don't get anything else out of this, you'll get that at least.
That's right. That's right.
My buddy Zank says it smells like crowns in here. I don't know what that means, but maybe that's a military thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or he's just goofy. He may just be getting a rise out of me for some reason.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Let's go back to how do you so you you put out a ton of content, Trent. How do you come up with your ideas and whatnot? We were talking about this a little bit beforehand, but I think people would be interested in that.
So sometimes it's stuff like that I've experienced personally. And then, I've been in the woods hunting for, I'm 29, so 20 years now, and have been obsessed with it for 20 years now. So, when you're in that community and you do that a lot, a lot of things that happens, and you just got a lot of information up here, or maybe not even information, but like you got a lot of skits up here.
Yeah.
From especially being where I live, like everybody that I grew up with, there's, I'm definitely not the funniest guy that I know.
Yeah.
Definitely. Jay Duncan that works for MDOT would be one of them. He is one of the Anyway. So it's personal stuff that, that I've, I've either done or experienced or heard about or something like that. And then just honestly, dude, I'm just an idiot. Crazy. Like, cause I'll just have something random just pop up like all the time. I think like, oh, that'd be funny. Just kind of like that video today, the last part of that video. I didn't know that I was going to say that until I had half the video done. So, and I'm like, oh, I think that'd be funny, So, I don't script. I just, like I told you earlier, I try on the weekends to, if I'm sitting around or whatever, just I may think of 6 or 7 ideas, because I've started taking Sunday and leaving that off and not posting anything on Sunday for the last 2 weeks, and just posting Monday through Saturday. So 6 videos, 6 short form videos. And I try to get them all filmed on Monday, and if I have any carryover on Tuesday morning. But I try to have 6 ideas, 6 premises, just like the interstate grass. I'll put interstate grass. I'll be like checking on buddies during dove season, or checking on buddies during dove season for deer season. Everybody's got that guy. If you're a decent hunter everybody's got that guy or guys that's going to reach out to you around September time frame. Hey man, how you doing? I ain't talking to you.
You seen doves flying around anywhere? That's
Yeah,
you guys in the south of your dove hunting.
Yeah.
I hunted
Warming
Tennessee.
you up for deer season. They want to go.
Yeah, I know.
They don't have anything on camera, so they gotta get in with stuff like that. And then Monday, as long as I got my premises, I start with whatever video I got. I sit there and I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this video. And I'll sit there for a second. I'll get the first clip and I'll start shooting. And normally when I start shooting, it just starts flowing. So, and that's it's pretty much it, man.
And so your video, it's you talking to yourself. You're having a conversation with yourself. So how do you film it? Do you just you kind of do it twice then, or do you just literally say your sentence and then go to the other position and say your other sentence, or how do you do it?
Both.
Okay.
It depends. It really depends. Like if I've had times where I've got a whole video in my head, like a whole script right there. And if that's the case, if I'm wearing this shirt and this hat, I'll put my mic on wherever and I'll just sit here and film from this angle. I'll put it in the tripod and I'll go through and I'll make all of my clips from that. And then I'll change my shirt or hat or whatever. And then I'll film straight through that and put it together and it'll be there. That happens, I'd say probably half the time. Half the time I'm shooting, 4 or 5 clips from this angle and then, or from this character. And then I change and then I go to this character and shoot 4 or 5. And I had to do that a lot today. I just wasn't, I went bow fishing all night the other night and still kind of lagging from that. So, but yeah, it's either back and forth or it's straight through one, straight through the other, so I'd say about 50-50.
How much time do you got to spend on a video? I know it's going to depend, but
short form, from the time that I start filming to the time I'm done editing, normally anywhere between 20 and 45 minutes normally. So if I'm doing, like I said, 6 videos, I can start doing videos around 9:30 a.m. on Monday and I can be done by 5. Sometimes I've struggled, whether it was my acting or whether it was, my script, or if you want to call it that, storyline or whatever. And I've had to reshoot a little bit on some things. Normally when I shoot a clip, you'll notice my stuff, it's like 2 to 3 seconds or 1 second. It's bam, it's another clip.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about. So normally I only shoot a clip once. And when I first started, I was having to shoot clips over and over again because I'm like, your acting sucks, or that angle was wrong, or you're too far away, or you're too So most of the time I shoot it once, and I'm on to the next clip. But I'd say 20 to, from start to finish, on a good day, 20 minutes. On a bad day, 45 minutes per video.
Yeah.
So
you just film it on your phone?
Yep, right here, iPhone 15 Pro. That's it.
Yeah. It's one of the big questions I get is what do I film with? What do I need to buy? What is, there you go. Trent just built a whole dang company off of an iPhone.
Well, dude, and I didn't have this until I think I already had about 200,000 followers when I got this phone. So I got this phone because I was going to start filming long form with my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I'm not doing that. I mean, I have every video that I've got on YouTube besides the one of me blowing those cars up has been with my phone or GoPro or Tacticam. But I mean, as long as your camera is on 4K, 60 FPS, does take a lot more memory. I mean, I think, and it doesn't have to be that if it's a good enough video, but I got this phone mainly because my other phone ran out of storage, ran out of memory. I had like 64 gigs, and I special ordered this one from AT&T here in town. It's got 512. So And then I got me a hard drive too. It's actually hooked up to my MacBook right now, but I've got that. So I put all my long form stuff on there, and then I'll, I'm constantly deleting all those
Yeah.
clips and finished videos that I'm talking about. So trying
Well,
to.
I think that's what people like don't realize, because everybody's like, I need a 4K camera. I'm like, well, if you're going to put it on the internet and you want to grow a YouTube channel, yeah, you do. But then you got to buy a computer that can keep up with a 4K resolution. You also have to store this stuff somewhere, because it's going to eat up your phone space in no time. Most normal phones can't hold that many 4K long form clips,
Yeah.
So it's
I
tough.
think the problem with people like talking about that, I think the problem is people expect, they say they don't, and they start something and they're like, no, I don't expect to get paid in 6 months or a year. I'm good. I'm going to work. And then 2 months in, they're like, dang, my videos suck. My views suck. I guess I'm not good at this, or I guess I'm not meant for this. And, the best thing that I've ever heard was Alex Hermosi on one of his clips. He said, don't fall in love with your goals, fall in love with the work.
Yeah.
He said, if you do the work, if you just focus on the work you have to do for that day, and you do the best you can at it and the most you can, the goal will come eventually. You may have to work 10 years and do a bunch of SHIT that you don't love, okay, or hate for that matter. But if you do it long enough and you work hard enough and you just stay consistent and say, I'm not going to fail, it's going to happen eventually. That's why I'm not over here trying to say, well, I got to be at this follower count, this subscriber count, I got to make this much money. Like, all I can do is say, I got to fall in love with the work. And as long as I work, everything eventually, whenever that day is, will fall into place. And, if the good Lord allows, make a lot of money and have a lot, land and all this kind of stuff, So those are like goals, but I'm not like in 10 years from now, I got to be here, or in 5 years from now, I got to be here. It's just like, hey, tomorrow I got 2 more videos or 1 more video to shoot. That's what I got to do tomorrow. And then I got to edit 2 long form videos. And then I can get on the tractor and do some bush hogging or some disking. And that's what I got to do. I'm not worried about, I may have every video flop this week. So be it. Next week, you're going to see 6 more videos.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is.
The thing that scares me about like what I do and what you do in social media businesses is like, what happens if you keep going, but like if you stop, we don't, that's kind of scary. Like, what happens if I go down to 3 videos a week, or, like that's the scary part for me, is like, I put something on here almost every single day, sometimes multiple, if it's short form, long form, they overlap, and I get a few things up here. And it's like, I know that it goes good if I just keep going. It's like, what if I need to stop a little bit? It's like, dang, man.
I think at a certain point, there's nothing wrong with a little reset or a break. I'm saying a lot of this with a lot of inexperience. I've been doing this a year, not 5 or 10, not long as you have.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, your views would go down if you went to 3 days a week. They would. But 6 months from now, if you're consistent with 3, your audience, I'm sure, is going to catch back up. The algorithm is going to catch back up, and all this kind of stuff. And if it's not, in 2 years from now, it'll be fine, because people won't expect you to have a video out every week. But Robert Arrington told me, he's deer meat for dinner. He told me, he said, he actually is the reason that I don't put 2 videos out or 3 videos out a day. I used to put, like, for the first 6 months, I would put 2 or 3 videos out a day. And him and his wife, they said, listen, if you want to do that, great. But 2 years from now, your audience is going to expect 2 to 3 videos a day. So if you're going to change anything, change it now. And because it needs to be realistic to what workload you can handle for a long time, we'll say 5-10 years. And if you can't, go ahead and change it up. But and that's why I got organized. I used to, for the first 9, I've only been doing this where I do it on Mondays for 2 months now. So 10 months, first 10 months, I just did a video a day for 7 days. Sometime, and most of the time it was when Arlen would take a nap. I do a video, but I was stressed. I was overwhelmed. I was thinking about the video last night not doing good, and it affected that video. And I got to thinking in my head, like, well, if I do everything on Monday and get organized, that leaves me one day when I get my camera. I can at least put out a video every other week, and not be overwhelmed. So, long
form video is what you're talking about.
Yeah. Long form. I can handle everything, because the way I look at it, man, if you can't work solid 8 hours, if you can't work 8 hours in one day a week, and an hour or two another day, okay. If I'm complaining about that, like, oh, this is just too much, I'm going to go down to, I'm not making fun of you, but I'm going to go down to 3 videos a week. I'm going to go down to 3 1-minute videos a week. I mean, I'm done. Anyway. I'm done anyway. I actually have a business that allows me to have the flexible schedule. Now I didn't hardly eat for the first 2 years of it because I didn't make no money. 19 grand the first year and 29 the second. But it's like I said earlier, man. I mean, I just look at my workload, and I've tried to figure out the workload that I can do for a long time. I can work Monday and Tuesday, and then if I have one more day to where I film a long form, I mean, dude, that's I mean, there are guys that are working at Cooper Tire in Tupelo, 12-hour shifts,
right?
For 20, 30 years,
right?
And they would give their left arm to be able to work like that.
Oh yeah, we're super blessed.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just going to keep on keeping on. When it gets hard, I'm just going to remind myself, hey, you could be at a plant, or you could be doing this. You could be roofing houses, whatever. So, but yeah,
that's a good point. Zeke or Zank, go check him out. Go. I think I said this earlier whenever you hopped off for a few seconds there, but all Trent's stuff is linked in the comments section or the description below in this video.
Yeah, I'm pretty easy to find. It's just Trent Ellis.
Yeah,
that's how creative I am. I just
well, hey, that opens the door for you can do anything, really.
Yeah, I should just add my last 4 of my social on the end of it. That'd be the best. Yeah.
You are Trent Ellis then, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, I did. Chase commented on here that he doesn't have social media, so just check your comments on YouTube. He'll send you an email.
Sounds good, brother. Sounds good.
Oh, that's funny. It's crazy. How God works like that. It's weird how you get in contact with people or things happen like that.
Yeah.
What's your favorite platform to post on?
Man. Probably YouTube, because I don't feel so censored.
Yeah. Okay. That's
TikTok.
Interesting. TikTok's horrible, dude.
Dude, oh my gosh.
Dude, let me tell you a story about my TikTok. I tried TikTok for a week. I got 4 flags in that first week. I'm like, I'm done with this, dude. I can't do this, because I was putting kill shots. I didn't read any of the guidelines. I'm just whatever, I don't give a crap if this doesn't work, because I don't.
Oh,
I had everything else going on.
It's so backwards, man. You can get on there with a thong and show the rim of your butthole, but you can't go in there and show yourself shooting a deer, with a bow or something like that. It's crazy, man. I mean, it's TikTok. I mean, for an outdoorsman, you do have to be like a comedian if you're going to do. I mean, you don't have to be a comedian, but I'm saying, for my stuff, it's better for me to do stuff without weapons, because God forbid I show a gun in there. I mean, or a crossbow with a scope. I just did a collab last week with Botalk from Georgia, Scotty Evans. And I think because he's got an archery shop, that he's kind of trained the algorithm that all of his stuff is archery, no guns. But I told him, I said, man, before, because we had a clip in there that had he was holding a crossbow. I said, man, my stuff got I got flagged and I had to take it. They took it off because like one of the first videos I had, I was talking about this crossbow being a gun. I was making a spoof video, a comedy video, and be like, this is the best gun on the market that you can use. Or I said something. No. I said I was talking about being primitive. I was like, this is the most primitive weapon that you can have if you want to be a primitive hunter. And I said, this is the 10-point, blah, 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 blah. It's a crossbow. And TikTok took it down. It did okay on Facebook, didn't do good at the time on Instagram. Instagram wasn't doing good for me for a while, but and YouTube did pretty good. But dude, anything that I put up that I have a gun in my hand on YouTube freaking flies.
Yeah.
People love seeing gun stuff on YouTube or bow stuff, anything kind of shooting, I feel like YouTube is much better for your outdoorsman, style of content. So and that's a platform I'm not paid on. So that's my favorite platform because like I said, I don't feel censored. I feel like TikTok is always changing. They're always changing things. They're still new. So they're always changing stuff. Facebook and Instagram, Meta is there. A lot of these short form platforms, what I've learned is that, they raise and lower your pay all the time. And it's almost like when they run kind of an incentive for a few months to get a bunch of creators on there posting on that platform to make the money. And then once they do it and they feel like they've got them, they lessen it.
Yeah.
And then you go back to another. So it's constantly like back and forth, where YouTube, from what I'm hearing, has always been pretty steady.
Yeah.
And YouTube's the big dog. YouTube's got 3 billion people on it.
Yeah.
TikTok's got, the last I checked, had 1 billion. Instagram's 2.5, and I think Facebook's 3 billion, or Facebook maybe 3 and YouTube maybe 2.5. But regardless, they're not going anywhere. So, and I feel like my longevity in 10 years from now, 5 years from now, if I'm not posting on a platform, it probably won't be YouTube. So
right.
But yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah, I did my 7-day trial on TikTok, like you were talking about, just doing the 7-day.
Yeah,
I didn't go well because I was taking like my good shorts that I had on here on YouTube. Yeah, I was like, I'll just put them on TikTok. No, it did not transfer over very well because you're like, it was like kill shots. Like I had this one and I shot a nice 9-point with a longbow, and it did really good on here. I put it on that, just boom, just gave me I don't know if they call them a strike or a flag.
Yeah, I think I had TikTok for like 2 months, and my picture was me and an 8-point that I'd shot back in 2020.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden one day I get on there, and my picture's like grayed out. There's nothing there, and I'm like, what's happening? Like I have no idea. What is this? And I went in there and it was like against community guidelines, violation against community guidelines. And I'm like, oh, dude, like,
here we go.
I'm not going to say what I said, but I was just like, good Lord, man, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Do you ever feel like frustrated that that's how you make your money through them? Because I'm just I'm just asking you a question because I get that feeling from myself sometimes. I'm like, man, I wish, I don't know. In YouTube, but
you mean like if I was monetized on YouTube and TikTok or Instagram, I wouldn't post on TikTok?
Yeah,
like I feel forced on there.
Yeah, that's
sometimes, but I try. If Eckert's still on here, he'd laugh at this because I'm sure he remembers how I was and I hadn't changed a whole lot. But I'm not really great at being a positive person. I'm naturally pessimistic, but I'm trying to do better. Okay. And I try not to focus on that because that I have thought it. Yeah, I have thought it. I've thought like, man, if I was making good money on long form or YouTube
Yeah.
shorts, man, TikTok kick rocks.
Yeah.
Um, but I think I mean, TikTok's supposed to be bought out by this American investment group, and I think when they are, they could make some changes because word on the street is TikTok's trying to be YouTube. TikTok's trying to be the next YouTube. So one way that they've got to do that if they want to be YouTube is they have got to allow outdoor outdoor content, hunting content, shooting content. I mean, there are so many stinking subscribers and views on channels that are gun channels.
Oh man.
Channels. I mean, I think it was like, I could be way off on this. Somebody fact check me and call me an idiot. But I want to say when I was going to Mississippi State, I had to – no, it wasn't. I had to write a paper. I looked it up one day, and I want to say it was like the hunting industry brings in $12 billion into $12 billion into the South. I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not. It's a big money thing.
Yeah.
It's a big money business, and all they're doing by not allowing people to post that kind of stuff is just lose money. There's a ton of guys that could be on TikTok that ain't because they got it made somewhere else, and they're like, why would I go over to TikTok? I can't even hardly post nothing.
Well, that's how I felt.
Right.
I gave up on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I think that could change. And, I've found a way to kind of make everybody happy as far as the forums and get decent views and comments and, stuff like that. So, I'm not saying that I'll be there forever. But I'm not going to hop off there anytime soon, but yeah, it is kind of frustrating, especially at the start of it, when I was only monetized on TikTok and I had some really good ideas, like, with a gun and stuff like that to be funny. And I'm like, good night. I can't do that.
Right.
So
what's your thoughts on platforms like a Rumble?
I have no idea what that is.
Oh, okay. It's like the right wing YouTube.
I haven't heard of it, man.
Really?
I'm terrible about that kind of stuff, man. Because like people ask me, "Did you see this on TikTok? Did you see that on TikTok?" It's like, dude, I'm not on TikTok. Like,
yeah,
I'm literally on there to post, and then, if I'm surfing something, it's YouTube Shorts.
Same.
9 times out of 10, and it's pretty much the algorithm knows me. I want to see something get shot. Watch somebody fight in the street, something like that. But I haven't heard of Rumble.
Okay.
Heard of Rumble, but I hadn't heard of Rumble. So
it's like some of the people that have gotten kicked off YouTube's over there, like Steve Will Do It is real big over there, and
I have, yes.
I'm trying to think like Russell Brand is over there now.
Yeah, who's over there?
Russell Brand.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah. Actor kind of turned political commentator. But, anyway, I post over there. I used to post over there. Pretty much used to have a feature where if you put something on YouTube, it automatically go to Rumble as well. They don't do that anymore, but the fraction of people on Rumble is so small compared to YouTube. So a video that would get 10,000 views here would get like 10 on Rumble.
Oh,
yeah. Tough.
I mean, you don't know what's going to be the next YouTube or the next this or the next that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's one of those things that I'm not looking for, and I'm not saying that you are by saying this at all. Because I'm not. I'm just saying, like, I'm not looking for the next thing that I can get on early, like Bitcoin in 2010.
Yeah.
Whatever, 2009. I'm not looking for that because a lot of times that's a pipe dream. You know,
Yeah,
everybody
it's like investing in Dogecoin before it was Dogecoin.
right. Everybody hears, everybody has that story. They know that guy, or they saw it on the internet where this dude's worth, $20 million now because he invested $100 into Bitcoin or $1,000, and it's like, but you didn't hear, I've told the same story to guys asking me about day trading. They're like, man, I got to get into day trading. It's like, man, my buddy over here made this once, or I know a guy that supposedly makes this. And it's like, yeah, you hear about the success stories, but they don't televise all of the stories about people losing everything, about, a 20-year-old kid, buying so many options, didn't know what he was doing, and then got over his head so bad that he hung himself.
Yeah.
You'll hear about, and that kind of stuff is what happens most of the time.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not really, Rumble may be a huge platform one day, but for right now, I mean, I'm just going to post on the main four, until you call me and say, hey man, you need to get on Rumble.
Yeah, get on Rumble right now. It's popping off right now. It's Dogecoin, man. What was it? Radio Shack, or what was that? No. What was that stock that they ran up? GameStop.
Dude, that was a good movie. That was like Dumb Money.
Dumb Money. We watched that the other night. Me and my wife did. It's a good movie.
That's good. Yeah.
I got a funny story about Dogecoin. My buddy, he's a character anyway, but anyway, he was all into this, like these low end cryptos,
Yeah.
And this was before Doge was. I mean, he bought it for like when it was like 0.05 cents. I mean, it was super, super cheap, And he may have put maybe 15 or maybe $2,000 into it, And he said he was sitting at work, and he was like, he was in like an important meeting, but he was like thumbing through his Robinhood app and looking at all of his little investments he has, and he looked and he opened it up, and he was up like $84,000. And he was like, yeah. And it was from that $2,000 investment in Dogecoin, and it had gone up like it did, like going crazy to over $1 or whatever it was. And he's like, he didn't have good internet, and so he was trying to sell and he couldn't. And he said, I just like lost my mind. I just stood up and said, I gotta go. And he said, I just left the meeting and got to the internet and sold it.
Oh man, I can't, dude. I own everything that I own is mutual funds.
Yeah.
Besides one thing, I had one friend of mine say, hey, I think you should look at this company. And I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I put $1,000 into it. I think right now on Robinhood, this is the only single stock that I own. Out of my $1,000 investment, I have it went up a little bit today. $470.30.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's we're not talking about deer at all, but what's your thoughts on all the crypto stuff, since you are involved in the investment thing? Like, do you think that's something that's going to take off one day, or?
I think one day Bitcoin really will, just because I don't think there's anything wrong with Bitcoin. It's the fact that, it's hackable. I mean, there are stories, you can Google it, and there are tons of stories online about people logging into their account and their money not being there. And there's nobody to call, Yeah. I mean, so, and if you do get in touch with somebody on one of these exchanges, that's not like they're like, okay, sir, yeah, we've located the IP address and we've got this. It's like, they're like, we're sorry. We have no idea what happened. Your $30,000 is gone. So I guess when they figure out a way to regulate it and secure it, it's probably going to do better. But, I mean, for the most part, I think stuff like I want to invest in things that have a history, not a 2-year history, but a 40-year, 30-year plus history.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when I want to invest in stuff, I want to make sure I want to see how it did in 2022 when the market went way down. 2008, okay, 2002, 2001, 2000. A lot of mutual funds, a lot of stocks went down during 2000, 9/11. Right there at the beginning of Iraq. A lot of the market was down during that time. 1987. I want to look at stuff like what did it do? Obviously, it went down in those years, but how long did it take it to bounce back?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I mean, people, probably going to disagree with this, but I like to get advice from people who have been there and done that way more than I have and way longer than I have. Warren Buffett's the wealthiest investor, most successful investor ever. I mean, he's given away $40 billion to charities. He's given away more than most counties combined with population will make in their entire lifetime. And he says invest in the S&P 500.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a couple of mutual funds that have histories of beating the S&P 500, but that's not to get rich quick. That's work hard, invest your money over 35 years, and try to average 10 to 12%. Everybody wants to invest their money for a year or 6 months and average 400% or 5,000% and be like, hey, turned 1,000 into 80,000. It's like, well, good luck.
I mean,
it may happen, but
the best way to do that is probably to like start a dang company and build a product, and that like that's hard to do.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like, man, if you're a driven person and you're disciplined, or you can be disciplined, if you don't have a history of being disciplined, I wouldn't sit there and say, oh, I can do it. But I mean, if you want it bad enough, you can. But I feel like the best thing is find out what you love to do and then find a way to monetize it. The whole reason I got into social media was because the whole reason I started doing finance and got licensed back in 2020, selling insurance, life insurance first, was because Desmond Martin looked at me and he said, hey, I can get you licensed and have you free and making money, but free enough to where you can be in the woods 5 days a week. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And that's the main reason I started in finance, so I could be in the woods. Now I love investing. I don't sell much insurance anymore, but I love the investment stuff and helping people, with that. But, that's why I started social media. It's like, man, I could do something. If I could do what I love to do and get paid to do it, that's my dream. If I can pay my bills and my wife can be at home with our little boy and our future kids, and we can make it, that's what I want to do. But there's no security in that in the early years. Just like I said, first year that I was doing finance, I made $19,000. Second year, 29. At one time I had $235 in our account, 253 in our account. I had to sell a driver, a 3-wood, and 3 pair of shoes and some wild edge steps just so I'd have 2 tanks of gas to cover me for 2 weeks to go on appointments to sell insurance. And it's like most people at that aspect, and I'm not bragging, but I feel like most people, once they get to that point in the road, they're going to say, I'm going to go get a job and I got to have some security. This scares me too much. Whereas, I was just like, I'm going to find a way to make it work. And, I just, like I said, man, if somebody's, passionate about something and there's a way to monetize, I mean, first of all, if somebody else does it, it's monetizable. So if somebody else does it, that's kind of the way I've always looked at it. It's like, well, if you can do it, besides running a 40-yard, a 440, 440 or dunking a basketball, it's like I've kind of always looked at it like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. Just go do it, man. And just do whatever it takes. I mean, legally and ethically, but just work hard and do it. And I feel like I wish more people would do that. Whether it's content or whether it's running a business, because like I said, you're going to have the first 5-10 years, you're going to work your butt off and you're probably not going to have a whole lot of freedom.
Yeah.
But man, instead of working 40 doing something you hate, just trying to get a good last 15 years of your life, why not slave away and suffer for 10 and then do what you want to do with the rest of the 40 you have left over, you know? So, but I have no idea what you asked, by the way.
I don't know. I don't remember either, but that sounded good. That'll make a good short. Yeah. Zank says, invest in yourself. That's never a bad option either.
That's right. Unless you're a liability.
Before we get off here, Trent, if someone wanted to start a social media and start kind of developing a following, what would you recommend them doing, or give them any pointers?
I'd have questions. I'd be like, what do you want to do? You know, what area do you want to go in? You know, and once you find that out, what you're passionate about, I think that the main reason that this has worked for me a little bit is because I'm passionate about, I love making people laugh. I've always been like the class clown and stuff. And then I've loved anything hunting. So once you find out what you want to do, what you want to make content about, I will give the advice that Justin Nunley gave me. And I reached out to him. I've reached out to several people. I'm not afraid to ask questions. So, you know, I just reach out. He actually answered and we FaceTimed and he gave me some pointers set in September, middle of September, that really helped me and that I still stick with. So he told me, he said, when you get dinged for community violations or whatever the case, don't get pissed off about it and quit. Learn from it. Okay. When your audience tells you something, and not just one or two bad comments or something like that, but it's like when your audience is, you know, pay attention to your analytics, but when your audience is telling you something, pay attention to it. You know, when you do something that does good, whether it's 4,000 views is good or whether it's 400,000 is good, try to repeat it, you know. But the main thing is don't compare yourself to anybody else or any other channel and have zero expectations. Have zero expectations of, well, I should be at 10,000 followers in 5 months if I post every day, because it may not happen. You know, That's like I said, I think the best thing anyone can do when it comes to business is do what Alex Hormozy said. Have your goals. That's great, but screw them. Don't fall in love with fantasizing about what you want and your goals that you want to hit in 5-10 years. Fall in love with the work, the day-to-day grind. If you can fall in love with the work, whether that's, you know, you want to post a video a day or 3 a day, or you want to do this or do that, you know, fall in love with what you've got to do today and then go to bed and get up and do it again tomorrow and kind of let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I would say.
Well, I think that's good advice. And everybody go check out Trent's stuff on social media. All of them. Trent Ellis.
Instagram's Trent _Ellis or 21. Yeah.
21. Yeah.
Ellis 21. So look how creative that is. Yeah.
You got the blue check mark. It'll pop up right away.
That's right.
Well, buddy, thanks for hopping on and talking. I know we didn't talk much about deer hunting, but that's all right. I just talk with people I'm interested in. So,
hey man, we'll get on again. You know, if you want to have me, and we'll talk all the deer hunting you want.
Yeah, dude. Maybe we'll touch base after deer season and see how all that went with you.
Yeah.
So, all right, everybody.
Brother.
Yeah, thanks for getting on. Everybody, hit the subscribe button before you leave, and we'll see you next time. Bye.